Hello? Testing? Am I audible? I also wanted... Oh, hang on, there's a few things I need to fix. Yay, hey Derp! How are we? Need a little background music. We won't hear it.
I could sing.
No. No, thank you.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
It's not really background music, is it? What had a playlist for this? Doesn't help.
I can hear background music. That's Zelda.
Yeah, that's Zelda. Which I'm not sure would be picked up on the mic.
My poor hearing picks it up.
So does my poor hearing, but the mic's not designed to pick up everything. Oh, is this... There we go, that might be... I can't hit shit. And also, Facecam, hello. Yeah, there is some background music. Podcast hype. Well, yeah, where's Pyro? We can bring back GG Noob again.
Oh, yeah.
That's Melinia. It's Papa Noob. And we do have camera on, so if you don't want to be seen.
Oh, I don't mind.
Oh, hello, Misa.
Awesome.
Hello, Dad. Welcome.
Joe, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Coffee and mustache.
Oh, that's why they invented mustache wax.
Yes. Hello, Father Noob. Mostly Dad. Yes, that's him.
That's me.
There you go. There he is.
I should move over. There you go.
Oh,
Oh shit! I scared the cat.
she thought you were getting up to feed her, so that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So this is something we've talked about doing for a while.
No planning.
Nope,
Just talking.
Fuck planning.
Yeah. Okay.
Plans for something we, I was going to say get value out of, but I think we can still get value out of these type of conversations.
Well, it depends what it is. Sometimes, I mean, it's good because sometimes. So what I think we'll bring up topics or something will come up and I just can't help myself and I'll voice my opinion.
Yeah, but it's also like just the idea of
Or ideas.
sharing ideas, right? Because like sometimes or taking on the devil's advocate type of role, right? Where we just like I know this is something I do a lot at work when I hear stories like, oh, this customer's really rude and annoying. I'm like,
Were they?
well, are they? Like maybe this,
So,
maybe that.
It's one of those things that comes from perception.
Yes.
So it's the classic of where you sit in the world is where you view the world and your opinions come from, but they may not necessarily be true. So,
yeah. Which I think is a good thing for these type of conversations to be had, where we can. I don't think it's something you can ever truly find truth in, as it were.
Well, I mean, there is truth, like there's also people's ideas and perceptions, and I really hate it when people say, "Oh, this is my truth." That's actually a lie because your truth can be anything, you make it up. So there's no such thing as your own truth, but there is such thing as a belief. You can have your own belief, and and for example, gods. People believe in a god, and they truly believe it. Like they truly think that it's there and defend it, and that's their belief. They're being honest when they say it. So even though
and
you might
like when you're having conversations with these type of people, you'll have to take that into consideration of like they're not being mean or vicious. It's based on their life experience. And
I think people can be, but I think there's getting into the religious part of it though, is there's a lot of a tendency for people who are non-religious or even atheists to be very belligerent in approaching people.
Yeah,
who
which I don't think that's even a religious type of.
Well,
that's
just not
just what people do. Yeah.
If you have a belief, or you see this a lot, I think in American politics or even Australian politics, with we have two parties, Labor or Liberal in Australia, and people have this idea that, well, that poles apart, when really it's a grey, mushy area of things. But you've only got a choice of two, so
realistically.
But it's polarising for people. They get antsy about it.
And they feel like they have to be on a side too.
Yeah.
Without.
And if you're not, you're wrong.
So it's like a lot of different things, but some people go, "Oh, if you change your mind, that means you were wrong." Type of thing. It's like, well, yes, but like I'm more comfortable to change my mind than stay believing something I know not to be true.
It's it's an interesting point, because I think I've heard many arguments where people will go, what would make you change your mind? Nothing. Like it's a proper, like they've got something. Whereas evidence should make you change your mind.
You should always be able to change your mind.
And it's hard though. It's very difficult to go, shit, I'm wrong, or my opinion's wrong, and to stop and examine it. That's a really difficult thing. Most people can't.
But
everybody struggles.
I also think being aware of that, being, that you are reluctant to change your mind, you will, like when you come across that situation where, I don't want to change my mind, but it's like, but should I?
There's a catch too with being wrong as well, because sometimes you're so immersed in your own ideas and opinions that you can't see that it takes time to realise you're wrong. It's a very hard thing to examine. Yeah, I know, because I do it all the time. I've been very belligerent in ideas and opinions, but it's very difficult to stop.
I get the same, but that's because I feel like some circumstances this isn't the case. Other circumstances I can see it being the case where I put more thought into something than someone else who's trying to convince me otherwise has.
Sorry, how do you mean?
I'm trying to think of it's more efficient to have round square on the top left corner, and I've thought about that for months and months, and then someone else is like, well, it makes more sense for it to be top left when they've just encountered the problem type of thing.
You're saying like they just accept it because it's there?
No, I'm saying it's sometimes if I am being told wrong, it's coming from a place where they think they have a bigger understanding than what they realistically do, which is a hard thing to do because that type of information is stuck within your sphere of thought.
You sort of come across things like this in the Dunning-Kruger effect. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
So you see this often, and the problem with Dunning-Kruger effect is that often it applies to me, it applies to myself, but you don't see it, and you hear about it. Well, everybody's so you believing in something when you don't have enough understanding, or believing you're correct without having enough knowledge. Or the depth of you can. It's a pain in the ass, and
because that's one of those situations where you can't tell how deep it is until you go that deep,
and then you realise how. So that happened to me when I was when I was a paramedic. When I was studied to become an intensive care paramedic, thought I was pretty clued up on it, and then I went to university and studied. I realised how dumb I was because my understanding is exceedingly small. So the more you study, the dumber I felt. I think that's a common thing.
Yeah, I think it's also not a bad thing to have though.
No, I don't think so.
If you think you have all the answers and stuff, it'll be a lot harder for you to accept new answers.
And I think too that comfortable in yourself being is an important thing to be able to stop and go, hey, and to re-examine your ideas. I think that's a good one. Sorry, go on.
Well, I was going to say, so this is one of the reasons why I thought we should do this type of thing, because we'll just get stuck on a tangent and go on into things. Not many people know who you are in my chat.
Yep.
Is there stuff you would like to... Because they know about my timber mill and stuff, and I talk about my social anxiety and things.
Oh Well,
what you want to tell.
okay, I can tell. I'm happy to tell everything, and if people have questions, that's cool too. So, I have a fairly diverse background.
You're old.
Yeah. so I've done many things in my life. Steering meat is one of them. So I was a paramedic for 30 years.
Basically since I was a kid.
Yeah, well, since you were born. Yeah. So most of your life, I worked as a paramedic in South Australia, and then I became an intensive care paramedic, and then.
So that's like a bigger brain paramedic?
No, it's just it's a paramedic who has more skill, who does more things, who's trained better. It doesn't, it's. I mean, I don't think it's a point of intellect. I mean, it's difficult to get. It was difficult to get into. It's different now. Nowadays, you have to be university. I think it's a master's now. You do in uni to get your ICP. Then it was just an intensive course at uni, and then I did. I went looking for more things and did FIFO work.
The fuck is a FIFO?
Fly in, fly out. Started working on oil rigs. Started working on. Working in Papua New Guinea and working in East Timor just after there was a war in East Timor, and I started working there as a rescue paramedic, working with helicopters and dragging people out of the jungles.
Yeah.
And then I worked on oil rigs, and then I lived in Abu Dhabi for 4 years.
Yep.
As a paramedic working in Abu Dhabi, so, and then come back to Australia. And found it really hard. Done a lot of went through a lot of shit. Had a lot of things to cope with, and I didn't cope very well coming back. And
because of all the challenges during the previous.
Yeah, so there's a lot of bad stories that I've got piled up, which is it's pretty good, and I'm happy to talk about them. Any time you want to hear them. Some are pretty hard, and some are horrible. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
It's not that I like hearing about it, but I like you being able to share it.
Yeah, and I can share them.
Yeah.
And I'm quite happy to share them. They're not. A lot of the things aren't pleasant, and a lot of them aren't anything more than just inconveniences sometimes for me. But coming to terms with that when you come back to Australia or you come back to a nice place to live has been difficult. So I've had problems with alcohol and drugs. And I've had problems with the law, and which is all part of the adventure.
Well, yeah, like you learn from every mistake you have.
And sometimes it's difficult when you're in the forest. The classic terms of being too close to the forest to see the trees is one of those things. Because sometimes when you're immersed in it, you can't tell.
Yeah.
So that's basically where I'm at. So. I've had a lot of counselling, a lot of social anxiety myself, a lot of what do you call
meditation?
No, forgotten. Anxiety.
Yeah. I was going to say I'm the last person. So I don't know fucking words.
No, anxiety. Which I'm managing. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's about. Like learning to manage it, basically, which you can only do by pushing it. Like this is how I do a lot of my stuff too. It's like I don't know how much it can relate to you in the grand scheme of things, but like on the macro level, it's I'm uncomfortable going to the shop some days, so I will. Not force my way, but I guess that is the only way of putting it, because there's times where I haven't been able to do that, but I will. Like one of the methods I have, I don't know if this is helpful for anyone, but I have these cards I picture in my head.
Yeah.
So it's like we have no cat food. I need to go get cat food, and it's like, okay, well, I'll place a card. It's not heavy enough to motivate me or move me, but it's like, well, I need food. I need exercise. You know, it's a good idea to get out in the sun.
And when it
gets heavy, and it gets to a point where it's like, well, I've put on socks now, and now it's like, well, I might as well just go.
Oh, that's an interesting concept.
So I keep adding those things. So like, you know, well, I'll have a shower and then I'll be more motivated. I've tried it before. It's not always easy, but that's
interesting. Did you think that? Have you heard that, or did you think that?
It's just something because I figured it out. I think I wanted to go out somewhere. Usually a walk. It's often a walk. And I'm like, I was sitting in my bedroom for a lot longer than like an hour, just browsing YouTube Shorts and stuff. And it's like, well, let's, you know, put a card on, put some socks and shoes on. And since I've got that on, it's like, well, it just I might as well do it at this point.
That's an interesting point. It shows you. It also works with the tolerance of things too. Like cleaning is a good example. Yeah. So, you know, you're messier than I am.
Yeah.
Which is pretty which is unreal. Well, I didn't know that was possible.
I don't know about that. I've seen your desk.
Well, that's all logically laid out.
And you're saying my stuff isn't?
Well,
I could show you a hot dog if you want a hot dog.
Yeah, no,
There's a hot dog in there.
Yeah, see, I don't have hot dogs. I don't have hot dogs lying around. I hope. I'm pretty sure I don't.
I feel like you'd know.
I've got bits of papers and USBs and radio stuff. But I was going to say, like going back to the anxiety thing, one of the things I learned from practice is and it's one of the things I come across in psychology a lot, is the idea of not engaging with the thoughts. So you can feel anxious, you can feel anxiety, you can feel afraid, and then you stop and go, well, I feel afraid.
Yeah,
you don't have to figure out why. You don't have to go, why am I afraid of going out? Why does going to the shops make me feel like I'm going to, you know, drown? You don't have to. You just go, yep, I'm afraid of that. I'm frightened. That's okay. And you know, the reality is, am I safe? You know, yeah. You know, no one's gonna shoot me. I'm just, you know, so you can do that. And the other one is to calm down when things come up is, you know, doing the three things, noticing the old can hear three things, smell three things, see three things.
This isn't something I've heard of.
So to calm, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by things, you go, okay, it's really just a diversionary tactic where you go, okay, well, there's three things I can hear, pick three things you can hear. So, you know, the whirring of the computer, the blurring of my voice, maybe the wind outside. Three things you can see, you know, TV, Jared, the fan.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you go back down them and go, well, what's two things I can hear, two things I can see, two things I can feel, one thing. By the time you get to that one thing, your mind's had a chance to calm down. So it gives you an opportunity to breathe in that space.
That sounds really helpful.
Yeah, well, I don't tend to use a lot, but it is helpful.
Yeah.
For people who have crippling anxiety, or what's helpful is in the past I've been caught, sometimes it used to happen often, I would get caught, just something would trigger me. I'd be triggered by something, and often it's more to do with being, you know, jungly smells or something, you know. I remember raining and a hot day, that sort of thing, sort of triggers anxiety, and it triggers a panic attack, and that's when that sort of settling thing is a good thing to have. So, yeah, in a nutshell, I'm not a psychologist, but
neither of us are.
I've gone through,
but like
I've talked to enough now.
Yeah, like,
and psychiatrists.
This is the other this is all over the place. I kind of expected them as much. But like, this is why I want to have these type of conversations, because it will cause a conversation to have, and then we'll think about these things and grow upon it.
And it's good to discuss it too, because when you bring things out into the air, or when you bring things out into a conversation,
it solidifies it.
It does. It gives ideas, solidifies your ideas a bit more. So, you know, at least for me anyway. I mean, I do a lot of thinking when I walk, and a lot of thinking a lot of the time.
I think a lot too. Sometimes I purposely don't think about that. I just like, you know what, let's put reality aside and just like basically daydream at that point.
Yeah, and there's times for that. There's times to let your mind wander. Because it's a freaking chatterbox. Your brain does not stop. It's like having a friend that won't shut up, that just constantly talks at you all the time.
Yes.
It never shuts up, and you just can't get away from it. Without, this friend can, and it can be pretty annoying sometimes. Like, it's sometimes singing, "Do you know the Muffin Man?"
Yeah.
singing earworm songs at you. So
that's not an earworm song for me, but
oh yeah, it is for me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Thanks to Brittany. Anyway, but you need a break from it. I need a break from it.
Yeah.
So meditation does that. That's where you get the break.
Yes, this is something I've actually almost considered doing, like the mindfulness meditations at the end of streams as well.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine does it a lot too.
Yeah.
Because he was like one of those anchy, angry teen type of...
Antsy,
yeah.
Yeah. But its meditation is very good. It's almost like, it's like a superpower. Like, it really is a powerful thing that you can use in everyday life.
Yeah, I was trying to convince someone at work to do it, because like, especially when you don't, like we'll talk, the brain's always going to be yapping, but with meditation you can learn to, I guess, control it in a way.
Well,
not fully.
You don't have to engage with it.
Yeah.
The mind can go yapping, but you can go, oh, that's...
Yeah, you can leave that alone.
Yapping. You can do further, like I know you can, there's different forms of meditation, or three basic forms. One is the concentration meditation, where you picture something or you concentrate on something. You start off normally with your breath, you concentrate on it, and then if your mind wanders, you just say, oh, my mind's...
Yeah.
It always does. It always wanders. There it is. That's okay. Come back to the breath. You come back to the breath. The other one is where you concentrate on a subject or a thing, or contemplate something. And then the other one is a loving kindness meditation, where you focus on caring and basically loving kindness. So,
like, because I find myself doing because like my mind will always fucking wander all the time. Like playing games and that. Be doing one thing and then like I could feel it change directions, and I have no idea what was happening over there.
Yeah.
Which is why I like that mindfulness one, because it's like helps you pick up when it's happening, and then you can like take a step back.
Yeah.
You can't. I think that's a better way of describing it. You're not controlling it, but you're able to take it within steps,
or acknowledge that you're having a thought, and it comes up with you're angry. Like, the classic one is you bang it. In fact, it happened to me before. And it was all right because nothing. Cherry jumped up and banged me in the head, like smacked me in the nose. And in the past, I would have been, chucked a nana and belted her and been bloody angry. But it didn't. Nothing happened because there's nothing to be angry about. Nothing happened. Like it's flicks through your mind, but you go, well. The dog doesn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, that's what it is, type of thing.
It's like hitting your head on the cupboard. You smash the cupboard around.
It's even like getting angry with the weather and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like...
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that, but sometimes it's a manifestation of other things, though, too. So, you're angry at, I don't know, but something in your life's happened, or
you lost your League of Legends game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, because I have this situation. I haven't played Overwatch. I don't expect to play Overwatch anytime soon at this rate. That's another kettle of worms.
I played Overwatch.
The new one, Overwatch 2?
No, I haven't played it for 2 years. I played it when it first came out.
Yeah, I think in Dubai or something. Didn't you have it there on your console?
Can't remember. Probably.
But like, because I play online with a lot of people, and I can see people getting angry. It's like, oh, things aren't going my way. I can't control this. This is annoying and frustrating me. And like, in those type of situations, like where you can't control it, and you can't get angry, because like the only people that will really pick up on that anger is your teammates, which will make them angry as well. I tend to try and come into those situations like, look, we can't control these type of things.
Yeah.
They will make people angry, but if you tackle those situations with a positive attitude, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes they're just doing it and it's just pure rage happening behind the eyes, but I'm like looking, smiling, we can do this. Good work, team. But that will still help, the group as a whole, because it doesn't feed in that negative feedback loop.
And then always, if you have that pent up, you can go outside and, kick the punching bag or something to dispel it. It's like... So it's like the thing that intrigues me is road rage, like how people get so extremely angry, like driving their car. It's like I don't know. You see it all the time where people just rage.
I feel like there must be a psychology study based in road rage, because like
I don't know, and I haven't actually thought about that. It's interesting though, but it does seem maybe it's the fact that it's more prevalent because you can see it, like it's
but like those people are, because like when I'm not comfortable driving. If I see something, if someone cuts me off, I'm like, oh shit, sorry. Like I might get angry or something, but like I'll try and stay away.
Most people don't do it on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. But like there's some people that I think they get behind the wheel and it's like them versus the world.
Oh, yeah.
And they kind of like picture that. It's like if someone cuts in front of them, they cut in front of them on purpose, and they need to like...
Yeah. It's an interesting study or statistic that was done ages ago, when people were asked, how do you rate yourself as a driver out of 10, And most people is like, are you better than average, was the question, I think. Most people would give themselves a very high rating. I think they're 90, which is crazy, because then everybody is 90% as average, which is not true.
Yeah.
And the fact, coming to terms with the fact that most people aren't really good drivers, and this comes back to we were talking about before about acknowledging where you're at, understanding, being sort of too close to the trees to see the forest, and know you drive and you don't recognise that you're probably not a good driver. Like, not you, but generally. Like
I know I'm not a good driver. You didn't need to point it out.
I know I'm particularly conscious of it.
Well, yeah, I think that's what you need to do in those situations, especially something that dangerous. Like, you have to be aware that, look, I like when I'm driving, I assume I'm the worst one on the road. Because that way, if I see a car in front of me, I can go, okay, they're a normal driver. They won't suddenly brake, in front of me or something. Like, they won't do something random. But like, because I expect them to be bad drivers, I'm like, I have to be extra cautious.
It's learning. When I got my motorbike license, riding a motorbike makes you, I reckon, a better driver, because you got to treat everybody like they're an idiot. Everybody's dangerous, because you're so vulnerable. Like you don't fender bender on a motorbike can really hurt you, whereas in a car
that's probably the other reason why road rage is such a thing, is because they are enclosed in a box. It's like, this is my space that I'm safe in.
Yeah, it's a bit like being in your home, isn't it? Your place.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden another home just crashes in front of you. It's like, what the fuck?
Howler's Moving Castle. It's that's an interesting thing, because it is your space, it's your property, it's your thing, and you probably believe that it's your kingdom. But I find it, as you said before, though, most people just make a mistake. There are occasionally people are arseholes, but it's no good. It's just still doesn't do you any good, just upset you, and you have a shitty time.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like when I was talking about that Overwatch, like I much rather, keep everyone positive. I feel the burden sometimes, like when you have entire people around you being so negative, it's like, it's like, swimming upstream.
It's like, have you heard the Buddhist philosophy, the two arrows?
No, please explain the two arrows.
Two arrows where something happens, right, is the first arrow. So someone in the traffic cuts you off, and that's the first arrow.
Okay.
The second arrow is your arrow. It's how you react. So you might get stung with one arrow, but if you get angry, that's the second arrow.
Yeah.
So you can either, how you choose to behave when something happens just decides whether you get hurt more or not. So, you can rage, something can happen, and choosing to get angry or annoyed at it is just going to make your day worse.
Yeah. So do you think it's like those people that get angry choose it, or is it reactive? Because Mel in chat said, is the root of anger actually fear? That's an
interesting point. So I think there's sometimes people react, I think, out of fear, and that happens a lot, especially while we're talking about driving cars. So people, get a fright, and then the immediate response is aggression or to be angry, because it's a protective thing. So it is fear and anger are linked. But I think sometimes too, people bring their own baggage along, like as well. There's other things going on in their life. You're late for work. The kids have bloody made a mess in the morning, and your wife's or husband or your partner's got a cold, and suddenly your report's not done properly, and you're driving to work, and someone cuts you off, and that just you've got a pile of things.
The straw that breaks the camel back.
You've been putting all these things in your gunny sack. So sometimes it's a simple burden of life, or not dealing with the burdens of life as well.
It's also knowing what burdens to take on. Like, for that example, it's like, your kids made a mess, nothing you can do about it. Take that off your list, right?
Yeah.
Husband's sick, you'll need to get medicine or something. Work report's done wrong, but you can save that and put that aside, deal with it when you're at work.
It's often that coming back to that mindfulness ability to not do that. It's a very
skill worth learning.
That's why mindfulness is a skill worth learning, because it does absolutely diffuse those sort of, well, not always diffuses it. That's silly. It
gives you the tools to diffuse them.
It gives you an ability to do it, but you're still going to get stressed. You're still going to have, but when it happens, you can stop for a second, give yourself a bit of a break. So, and it works on everything like that, I think. So
disturbance is the disturbance to the safety of our lizard brain perceives.
Yes, that's right. That's the flight or fight response. So the old lizard brain.
That's like
stop the tigers eating.
Flight, as in I got spooked that someone cut me off, and fight's like well,
you get to, if that happens, it's the classic. Your basic brain is geared up to survive, so you're going to get a shot of adrenaline. When
all the chemicals is going through.
So suddenly your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases. Everything is geared up for that fight or flight response, and that as we were talking before, as someone mentioned, being angry, so that produces fear, and then you get angry. So it's a basic reaction. It's a tangible.
So how much do you think people as a whole could control that said lizard brain?
You can't control that fight or flight response. That's a biological hardwired into your lizard brain, as someone was saying. That's part of you. But what you can do as people, we have part of our minds can turn around and recognise that's what's happening. Oh shit, I'm frightened.
Comes back to being aware
if you're able to, and it's hard. It's not simple. It's not just switch it on. But if you practice it, you can to an extent.
Well, if it was like I can't remember where this from, but like the best way to improve yourself is to slightly be challenged, basically.
Yeah.
And that is, realizing that's the case, and going, this is making me angry. You can challenge that. It's like, yes, but I don't need to be angry for this.
Yeah, you don't need that second arrow.
Yeah.
And to recognise even if you're frightened, to go, oh, geez, I'm terrified. We had an incident a few weeks ago when we were about coming back from camping, and it was, I don't know if you heard about this, we were very close to having a really severe accident.
The tyre coming off?
No. I was coming home, I drove onto the highway to turn left, and I looked to my right, as you do, because make sure there's no one coming, and as I turned into the lane, a guy was passing, another car, and came head on towards us, flat out, and missed by inches. I drove off into the dirt because I had the trailer on as well.
Yeah.
And he cut back in on the other car. So, and that gave me mate. Yeah. I was terrified, and Mum had a fright, and we went, oh shit, and we've just missed. Like we, had in a different universe, in one of these multiverses, somewhere we've been smacked up in a car accident. So yeah, that was frightening, but I overcome it pretty quickly because I've gone through practiced a lot of the counselling, and understood what was happening, why I was frightened, and the circumstances. You start going through and saying, oh, that fucking dickhead driving on the wrong side, but he wasn't technically doing anything wrong. He was. He obviously didn't see us coming there. He should have waited.
Because you were pulling out on an overtake highway,
on a normal road, but he was overtaking.
Yeah.
Now, he probably should have looked, but I don't know what the circumstances are. Blaming him doesn't really help anybody.
You would still need like a minute off the road just to breathe
Take a breath.
after that. Yeah, I just hearing that story, I'm like, I feel like sitting down
and that happens. You get that adrenaline rush. You get that that thing, and then the fleet of anger and the thought of what could have happened. You go through all those processes in your mind, and then you take a breath and go,
none of it happened.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And I could keep guessing till the cows come home as to why he passed, or what this was, or what that doesn't matter.
Or what could have happened. Yeah.
What could have happened, I don't know. It is what it is, and it's finished. And now that's fortunate that we weren't in that universe.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't happen. So yeah. So that's containing. I would have been a lot worse off had I. Probably some years ago, I would have been a person who would have been wanting to chase him down and beat him with a stick.
Yeah, whereas
now I'm like, I'm okay. That's
grown wiser in your old age.
Oh yeah. I'd rather have. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's wisdom. I don't know. I don't think it's wisdom. I think it's probably just being too curious in life and having a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, it's all good. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Good talk. Is there anything else we need to add?
I don't
Corruptions lost their brain cells. Count to 5 before you rage.
Yeah, that's a good one. Count to 5 before you rage.
Although
the way Mum does it doesn't work so well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, see, it's really hard to anger me. There's very few people who have seen me angry. Can you guess to one of them?
Me. I came into your caravan and you scared the shit out of me because you yelled at me.
That wasn't me at my anger. That's probably like spur of the moment.
Who angered you?
It was Alyssa.
Oh, that's good skills she's got.
Oh yeah, I know. Like considering the type of shit I could deal with. But, I remember getting so fucking pissed. I don't remember what it is, but I'm like, I have to, properly express my anger towards her for whatever happened. I don't remember. So I ended up, throwing down, her DVD racks and stuff. I think something needed to be done or cleaned or something. I'm not sure if I've told this story before, but, the duct tape room where I asked her to clean up the fridge because she kept making home meals.
Yeah.
Eat half of it, put in the fridge.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was already mouldy.
Oh.
When she went to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
For 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'm like I remember getting home from work and going, before you go, can you clean up the fridge?
Yeah.
And I left for work in the morning, came back, and everything was there. I'm like, I'm angry now, and I shall. Yeah. Like, I do think there is some purpose to anger.
Oh yeah. So it's an interesting thing. So anger is one of those things where it serves a role, and there are times when you can be angry. It's when it's not under. It's when you're not under. It becomes aggressive, and you can be, and people will do things to you, and you have the right to be angry about certain things.
Yeah.
But you also have to recognise that it's a state of mind that you need to you don't want to cross over into that violent, raging, uncontrolled state.
Yeah.
And you do need to vent it. Like, it's important when you're upset at something that you talk about it. I mean, when you're angry at what people do, or you're angry at work, or you're angry at something, you can't just go, as it sounded like before, all come by it'll all go away. No, you're angry. You'd have the right to be angry about something. And sometimes you don't need to talk about it. You need to discuss it and get it off your system. Otherwise, as I said before, you bottle it up and,
make mistakes.
No, you want to hit something. Go outside, punch a punching bag or something. But you will make mistakes too, I find that.
Yeah, I
make mistakes, yeah.
I'm not a very aggressive anger person.
And that's good. That's fine.
But, like, there are moments where, like, I had to properly express my anger to people. I don't feel like I'm particularly good at communicating not only my feelings, but my ideas. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast as well. But I know there was situations where I'm like, this is done wrong. You've kind of, screwed me over. This is why I'm angry at it. But, like, I have to approach it in a way of, like, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. No, it's like I had to approach it as the fact of I need to learn better, and you're not helping me in these.
Oh, that's it's a little bit like the shit sandwich that people use to explain things.
Yes, yeah.
But it's also okay to say to somebody, I feel very disappointed in what you've done. That's fine. They don't have to take that on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my feeling. I feel disappointed in what you've done. I would prefer it if you do X, Y, Z. For example, I don't know, don't leave your plates somewhere or something. So that's where you need to be. It's going to happen. That's what we are. It's how we deal with it. And that's the important bit.
Yeah. I think, like, I don't know about you, but I think I've learnt how to deal with it. Might be coming from the autism side or something, I don't know, but like where I've know how to deal with a lot of the emotions I come across now. There are moments where I am overwhelmed, but I'm able to recognize that to the point where it's like, okay, I need a sense. I need to have that time to let me be overwhelmed.
Yep.
Because it's easy, like sometimes it is easy, like can be really overwhelmed, but I'll just put it aside.
Yeah.
And that's where, when it comes back the second time, it'll be double the height, and it'll be more, and it's like, just deal with it later, and that's...
It's one of those things that we've talked about as a paramedic years ago. I don't know how long we've got left. Was loading your gunny sack. People, as in emergency medicine or in emergency services, you go into a job and so for cot death or SIDS case, which are really emotional and they're very difficult, and parents are crying and the baby's died, or someone dying in a car accident, and you don't have time to deal with these things. They're horrific, and you don't have time to deal with it. Like, it's no good being frightened or upset. You can't do your job. So you stick it in your pack, you stick it in your gunny sack, as I've said, and at some point in time, you've got to empty that. You've got to empty that out. I was good at doing it initially, but I got bad at it as the years went on, because my gunny sack, some of the things we're putting in there were bloody big, so eventually it crushes you.
Never knew to empty it out, or you never...
Oh, I think a number of things happen that you don't recognise, or you're so involved. I think a number of things that I was involved in. Also, I think talking about them is really bizarre. So when you come back to Australia, when you're working overseas and you're working in a place like Papua New Guinea, where people are, murdered as a pastime almost. You come back here and it's like, it's weird. It doesn't make, like, you talk about it and it's like watching a show on telly.
Yeah,
it's not
like
real.
just
There's no reality to it.
Book hidden behind its words.
So yeah, but there's it's horrendous. So we'll talk about that later too. I'll talk about some of those stories as well.
Yeah. Well, we plan to do this every Thursday, don't we?
Yep, every Thursday.
For the most part, we'll see.
Well, except we'll we'll always be here.
Well, yeah, it comes down to the fact that this is a hobby at the end of the day, and well, at least I can't have to know when to, like, I'd rather just not do it, and I'm allowed to do that.
Sure.
I don't like to do it too often because it's one of those slippery slopes of if I
get into a habit of not doing things. Yeah,
and it is a lot. Like, it's hard. It's challenging at times, but I'm able to learn and grow a lot from it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. I also find that I've not got to do things so intensely either. I have a bit of a habit of getting involved in things, so to a point that it bursts me. Like I must have it, and it must be done correctly, and it kills me. So
yeah. All right, I think we'll finish off here. Thanks, people, for joining.
Yeah.
Make a spreadsheet about it, tip top. About what? The arguments? Or about our podcast? Any responses? Any opinions for what we've slapped together? It's not
I like that. Me and my bro argue at least 3 times a week.
Corruption missed out on his nut. That's fine. Sibling rage is real. That is. It's not always. Like, I'm pretty chill with my siblings.
You are now, but when you when you were kids, you weren't.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've learnt how to deal with this stuff eventually.
Yeah.
This is one thing I like to tell the younger viewers too. Is like, take advantage of your youth because you will make mistakes, and you get to use the excuse of I was young.
Yeah.
So make your mistakes now, learn from them, and then you can go, look, I was young and now I'm a better person.
But the best thing is you'll learn more from your mistakes.
Yeah. Yes, you do learn more.
Want to learn handle social anxiety.
Practice.
Meditation would be...
Meditation
I would go online and one of the key things is to go online and look at mindfulness. There's a lot of information on there, and you'll find a thing that actually suits your own personal things. There's many ways of doing that, but it's all generally aims to the same thing. Mindfulness is a very powerful thing in helping social anxiety. It doesn't take it away, but a little piece at a time. You practice at least a little bit at a time, and it starts to become not as daunting.
Mindfulness helps the internal stuff. The external stuff is like you need to just practice. I remember, can't remember exactly the pinpoint when it happened, but I'm like, look, I need to get better at this social thing if I want to be a part of the planet. Yeah. And I remember kind of faking my confidence. Like, this way of talking is not natural. I would rather hide in a corner and be quiet. Yeah. But it's like I knew I needed confidence, so I faked it until I got enough.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, basically. The other thing I did too is I practice a lot on drive-through workers or like checkout chicks. I'm like, oh, how's your day? And like I've made embarrassing mistakes in those situations, but I don't remember who it was.
I just noticed as someone was saying, how do you overcome it? And I mean, what you're doing is little increments of overcoming it, practicing.
You can't do it. You can't go, you know what? I'm going to overcome my social anxiety and go to the nightclub and make a bunch of friends. Yeah, that will fucking...
No. There's no tablet. There's no magic. I couldn't think of anything worse. There's no magic pill. It's a matter of just recognizing you have it. Pieces.
Because I'm pretty sure I've told this story on stream before, but like I remember being home alone. I only had stale bread at home. I couldn't eat like stale bread and jam. I'm like, you know what? I need to go out and buy food. I had a shower, got dressed. I remember standing at the steps towards my car. I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah. And I didn't know why at the time, so I just had stale bread and off jam.
Yeah.
Because I needed food.
Yeah.
But like, now that I think back on it, I know.
Yeah.
I know that's what it was. It was me being scared to go in public.
Yeah.
Knowing that, it's the little incremental practices. I do it at work a lot too. When I started doing radio, that was a part of it as well. And now streaming. Like, it's the constant practice.
I, you know, especially when I got out of hospital, I could not be, you know, before I was even in hospital, being in a place with more than 4 or 5 people was, you know, killing. Like, it felt like I was going to die. So, but I think someone also said something which I also like was most people are so busy thinking about themselves, no one's really thinking about you. You get this idea sometimes that you worry what other people think of you, but generally people aren't interested. But they're too busy worrying about their own things. But
because I'm aware of that, but it's still hard sometimes. Some days I just have to let it happen. Yeah. Let me, you know, hide in my corner, hide off stream, and basically recuperate my social skills. And other times is like I purposely, and it comes back to the challenge myself every day. I push myself that little bit. So like, if you do have social anxiety, in my experience, it doesn't go away. Yeah. But you can practice dealing with it. But you have to practice.
Yeah, do. Yeah.
You can't go, look, I have social anxiety, I just have to stay inside. You have to practice that little bit, and it gets easier. Doesn't go away, but it gets easier.
All right.
Well, thanks for the...
That's all right.
Name pending. I feel like we need a clever, witty name.
A clever, witty name.
For the podcast. I'll put it on YouTube eventually.
Clever, witty name. CL...
I was just thinking of fucking stapled thoughts. Awkward. 2 awkward people. Hi and bye. Hi and bye, RC. Alright, I'm gonna end stream.
See ya, guys.
I'm gonna have tea, and I'll probably have a later stream tonight. Maybe doing Victoria. We'll see. Alright.
I'll go to bed.
Thank you, Mostly Dad.
Thank you, Mostly Noob.
Alright.
Hooroo, guys.
See ya. Should I do a raid? Great stream. Thank you very much. Don't NPCs do the same thing every day? A lot of people do the same thing every day, to be honest.
Is this knife meant to be?
Yes, it is. I'll clean that up. Hello, Silas.
So we're finished?
Yeah, we're finished. I'm just saying goodbye to chat. Alright, love you, Pa.
No worries, Joe. Thanks for that. It was good fun.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know how many people listen or whatever.
Well, that's the purpose. It's about, for us, like, we grow from these type of conversations, and I'm sure some people will appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Alright.
Thank you.
Let's see. Is there someone to raid? Is Mel live again? I don't think so. I'm also hot. I need to turn a fan on. I love this podcast. Every Thursday, I think. Like I said, I don't like committing to things, because then people get disappointed. Love your dad, he's a great guy. He is. He's a great guy. Why do you think I'm so great? By accident? Or on purpose? Speaking of mindfulness, let's give Laughing Man a raid. Yes, accident, fuck off, corruption. It's on purpose. Clip. There's only one streamer friend online, by the way. Go to Rip. What's a Rip? Hey, Misa. Yeah, we're going to give a raid to Laughing Man, because he actually does meditation at the end of his streams. And that is something I'm getting more and more tempted to do, but I don't know what people think of it. Alright, Laughing Man. He's playing Dead by Daylight. I might see you later tonight. I'll let you know. But don't hold your breath. And Devilish is live. But like I said, Laughing Man, he does meditations, which I think would be interesting for. Well, that's something I want to try out eventually. We'll see. Alright. Are we ready for the raid? We'll raid out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or later tonight, we'll say. Boy! Okay, but here, stream. I hope there's no ads running.